Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Food Beyond Its Nutrition. And yes, you read that right. Low, slow roasted salmon. Who knew you could roast salmon in the oven for an hour uncovered and get this, a delicious, juicy piece of salmon? Well guys, here's the mise en place. And one of the things I want to say about this recipe is that you can truly go on your own taste profile journey. You can finish this salmon up to reflect whatever taste profile you want. Don't ask why, but I started with my garnish, and here I have some spring onions that I have sliced really thinly, long slices, really thinly, and I put them into cold water, ice cold water, and it will curl up. Now, the longer it stays in the ice water and the colder it is the tighter the curl. But I'll show you that in a bit. Guys, I'm using Atlantic salmon, and this is best for this recipe. You definitely can use salmon trout, but I address that in the written recipe. The cooking time is different, but the prep is the same. I'm only using a small piece of salmon because it's my husband and myself. I'm not using the whole side, but the recipe is for the whole side. It's really important, guys, that the salmon is nice and thick. And when I say thick, about an 1.5 to 2 inches thick. And once again, I'm actually using the center cut. If you're creating this recipe, I'm going to say use the whole thing. It takes a dry brine, and I'm going to talk about that in just a minute. Here I have some homemade chili oil. I'm going to use that so nothing kind of sticks. I'm going to put that on the skin side of the salmon. I'm using some 5 spice because I'm looking for that a kind of Cantonese Chinese twist on what I'm doing today. Here is some garlic powder, garlic granules, and I have some liquid smoke. This is my je ne sais quoi. Just another layer of flavor. I have my pepper. I'm going to use some fresh cracked black pepper. I've got my raw honey, and this is for my glaze, and my hoisin sauce for my glaze. Now I want to talk about the dry brine. I have sugar and I have kosher salt. That's equal parts. I've got my garlic powder, and I've got my five spices. You can actually put your black pepper in here, but I kind of forgot. So mix all this up, mix it really, really well, and that's actually key. And guys, this brine is key to this recipe. You can't kind of skip this. The brine is literally the sugar and salt. You can add whatever else you want. I'm looking for that kind of Cantonese profile, so that's what I put in there, but the salt and the sugar is important. Now I'm going to actually put my salmon, this is skin side up, that's what you're looking at, and I'm going to actually apply a drizzle of my homemade chili oil. And once again, guys, this is just so nothing sticks. There's nothing worse than actually cooking food and it turns out right, and you go to move it and it's stuck to the foil or stuck to the tray. So you only put that on one side, because once again you are going to put your brine onto the salmon. So I'm going to sprinkle the brine all over the salmon. And once again, I'm only doing a small piece. This is about a pound, and typically my salmon fillets can be anything from 2.5 to 3 pounds. So this is a really small piece of salmon. So I'm actually not going to wind up using all the brine because it would be just way too much. Okay, guys. So that's the brine. And now I'm going to put the black pepper on. Like I said, you could actually put the black pepper into the dry brine. So the mix it's just one thing. Okay. Now you don't have to use the 5 spices, but guys, you need the sugar and the salt for this recipe. Okay. So I'm going to pat the brine in, and I'm not going to rub it in, guys. Just know I'm just patting it in. And I think that's important. Don't get carried away. Just give it a nice pat. And guess what I forgot? Ta-da! Right. I forgot the liquid smoke. Now, this recipe calls for 1/8 of a teaspoon. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply it now. I should have applied this before I put my dry brine on. Okay, guys. So once I put the oil on, flipped it over, I should have put this on and then worked in my dry brine. So I'm just going to pat this in. And although there was definitely more than 1/8 of a teaspoon, I didn't actually use it all. Now, while the salmon's hanging out on the counter, it needs to brine for 10 to 15 minutes on the counter before you roast it. I have already mixed up, but then you mix up your hoisin sauce and your honey and give that a really good mix, guys. Make sure it's really well incorporated so that once we're halfway through the cooking time, I'm going to take the salmon out of the oven and I'm going to apply the glaze and put it back in. My oven's at 250 degrees. This is the low part and the slow part. So here we go. This has been 30 minutes in, guys, and I know it's cooking because the albumin, those are the white, that's like the white spot streaks that start forming. I know it's cooking. And so here I'm going to liberally apply my glaze to the salmon and pop it back into the oven for another 30 minutes. Now, guys, you can cook it all the way, apply the brine, and then put the fish underneath the broiler for about 2 to 3 minutes so the glaze will caramelize and do everything that you want it to do. So I'm going to pop this back in the oven, and when we're done, you will see what it looks like. But in the meantime, here is what the actual garnish looks like. See how it's all curled up? The right side is what I started out with, and the left side is how it finished up. And here we have it, guys. Oh, doesn't it look good? This is hoisin honey glazed salmon with a hint of 5 spice. Now I've taken it off of the baking tray and put it onto a cutting board. And now all I'm going to do is squeeze out the spring onions that I have sliced for my garnish. I'm going to squeeze it out and I'm just going to drape the spring onions over the salmon. Guys, this looks absolutely phenomenal. And the one thing about soaking the onions is sometimes onions can have a little edge to it. Soaking it actually helps to take care of that issue. It takes care of that edge that you can sometimes experience. But guys, look at this. It's a work of art. This is juicy. This is succulent. This looks and tastes. It looks, it tastes, and it is deliciousness on a plate, guys. I truly hope that you try this recipe. You can do anything. You can use any kind of taste profile that you want, guys. You can use pesto. You can use a lemon, a citronette. You can use even a pink vodka sauce and just drizzle a little on the end. Guys, you can make this any which way that you want. Barbecue sauce, jerk, any which way. So for this recipe and more, please check me out at foodbeyonditsnutrition.com. Please be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And every time I produce a video, it will be sent to your inbox. Guys, I truly hope that you enjoy this recipe.